One of my viewers, James Fetshow, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, he wanted to, I was wearing a shirt, and he was like, "What shirt's that? I couldn't see it." And I've showed the shirt before, but I don't think he said he hasn't seen it. So it's a serial killer with Mike Myers eating some cereal. And I got another shirt for you guys today. That's this one. It's the Bridge Burners. First in, last out. Of course, that's a Malazan Book of the Fallen shirt. Alright, welcome to my channel. I'm Jason White. This is my channel, Jason's Rage Reads. Thank you for joining me, and if you're new here and you don't know what the hell it is I talk about on this channel, I like to talk about books. And so mostly I talk about horror books, science fiction, fantasy. And so this video here is from the hip number 6, and on these videos from the hips, I just like to shoot the shit from the hip. Blah. Basically, it's just me doing some channel house cleaning and whatnot, and I sometimes go into my own personal life, and I have a playlist, maybe I'll put it up there, where you can go check out all previous from the hips, and I basically just go into like things I'm struggling with, things I've succeeded in, my reading, what I plan to read, and all that fun stuff. So a new feature here is, I already shouted out James Fetshow, but I want to shout his channel out because he doesn't do books. I think it would be cool if he did do books, but he has a channel. You should go check that out. He plays guitar, and he's really good at it. So I think you definitely go check out James Fetshow. I'll link him down there. But I have some other people I'd like you to go check out. This is a new section in my From the Hip shoutouts. And I wanted to mention Crystal from Fiber Artsy. I met her on Rachel from Shades of Orange. I met her on her Patreon Discord group, and we're reading the Malazan Book of the Fallen together on my Discord. She had a floss tube channel where they do stitching and stuff, and she recently added booktube onto her channel, so definitely go check her out. She has some great book content right now, and she has a very fun personality. She's fun to watch talk, and so I highly recommend her. And one more for now, I wanna shout out Nikki from Dark Between Pages. Nikki is if you don't know who Nikki is, you need to fix that, because this woman, a fellow Canadian, cheers Nikki. She really, she's a very big supporter of indie authors, and there's not too many people who are helping push indie authors' work out there. And so if you're really interested in indie horror, definitely go check out her page. She has a lot of author interviews, a lot of author spotlights, and she reviews a lot of books too. Alright, so the polls. I did another round of polls. Some of these were pretty fun. So the first poll that I put since the last one was, what is your favorite type of booktube video? And the answers I had were book hauls, book tags, reading wrap-ups, and top 5 or 10 lists, and TBRs. And there were some interesting results here. I thought that book tags, honestly, would make higher, but it actually ended up being the smallest on this list at 5%. There's 193 people who voted on this. Next up was the TBR. That's another surprise to me, because I like watching TBR videos. One reason for that is I like watching people get excited for the books they're about to read, even if they don't end up reading those books. I know all too well what that's like. But it is a lot of fun watching people get all like, oh, I'm going to read this book and it's so exciting and blah, 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 blah. I like them much better in book haul videos, which actually made it to 17%. And the two biggest were reading wrap-ups at 25%. I love reading wrap-ups too. And top 5 or 10 lists, which that might be a little bit more my channel centric, if that makes sense, because I think I'm a lot of people do top 5s or 10 lists on booktubes, but I think I'm the only one who does them regularly. So, and you know, expect that in the future. Actually, I'm doing a batch of videos right here, right now, so you might see me wearing the same Bridge Burner shirt throughout the whole thing. But you might not. Anyways, and a lot of them, actually, I think all of them are like top 10 lists. So stay tuned for that. The next one I did was your favorite place to read. And the answers you had to choose, or you could choose from, were comfy reading chair, the couch, in bed, the commute to work, and somewhere else. Comment below. 8% said somewhere else, and the commute to work was actually the smallest. I thought this would be the biggest, honestly, because there's a lot of commuters, and there's always booktubers talking about how they fit in their audiobooks, or their reading if they take like the bus or a subway or a train to work. Next up was the couch at 26%, which is pretty good. Oh, if I didn't mention, the commute to work was only 4%. That was really low. I was surprised at that. And the couch was at 26%. A comfy reading chair was next at 30%, and in bed was the highest one at 32%. And that makes a lot of sense, because I know the majority of people, myself at least I used to, I still do, I listen to audiobooks before bed because my eyes just get too tired these days to read before I go to bed. But a lot of people read. That's when they read, before they go to bed. So next up I have, what is your most convenient format to read in? And the answers you could choose from were ebooks, physical books, audiobooks, and Braille. Now, 0% voted in Braille. I kind of figured that, but you never know. There might be some people with vision impairment that could have voted. Actually, there were a couple people who voted, but there was 253 votes on this. And the people who did vote for Braille, their votes just basically don't count in this, because I think there was only 1 or 2. And it didn't make 1% at all. So next up was audiobooks. I was a little surprised at this, because I know I love audiobooks. I actually read, the majority of what I read is on audiobooks, because it's the easiest way for me to consume books. Next up was ebooks. Now you have to remember, this was convenient. It wasn't your favorite, it was convenient. Your convenient format to read in. And next up at 25% surprised me a little bit, because it was ebooks. Now I know that physical books are a favorite. They're my favorite too, but I absolutely love my Kindle Paperwhite, and it's honestly starting to take over my love for reading physical books, because physical books I'm finding now are just clunky. You know, you try reading a physical book and you have to, like, especially if it's a Stephen Erickson book or a Wheel of Time book, you have to fight to keep it open. You end up ruining the spine. It's just, but with your Kindle White, you just hold it like this and you're good to go. I don't like reading on my cell phone though, it hurts my eyes. And yeah, physical books came at 59%, so that was a pretty cool one. And this next one was, what is your prime reading time? Mornings, afternoons, evenings, before bed, or all freaking day? Afternoons got the lowest. Mornings came in at 10%. I find that I actually enjoy reading more in the mornings now. Not just when I just wake up, but I don't know if this is an aging thing or if it's the way I've changed my diet, but I like to be productive in the mornings more so in the evenings, when 5 years ago I was the complete opposite. Evenings came in at 33%. I forgot all freaking day, which is actually me because of audiobooks, 19%. And the biggest one actually was evenings, which is 33%, and 30% before bed. So that was a pretty interesting result. There's a couple more here. You're trying to read and people won't stop talking to you. Sigh and wait patiently for them to shut the hell up. Yell at them to shut the hell up. visualize murder or commit actual murder. What's funny is that yell at them to shut the hell up came in lower than commit actual murder. Yell at them came at 8%. Commit the murder came at 9%. That's interesting. Visualize murder came in second tops at 30%, and the top one was sigh and wait patiently for them to shut the hell up. And I kind of fall in between two, the sighing and waiting, and visualize maybe not murder, but at least a severe beating. Alright, would you guys prefer seeing a star rating for books in my recent reads and review videos? Now, there's a reason why I asked this. I saw somebody discuss this on one of their videos, how they prefer to see a rating in their reviews, and it's because it helps them make a better judgment whether or not they want to read the book or not. For me, I don't need a star rating. I like knowing what the book is about and what they liked versus what they didn't like, because if when they go into those details of what they liked versus what they didn't like, I often find stuff that either I will like or not like myself. And so that's how I choose. But I'm not opposed to putting star ratings back into my reviews, because I used to do it. I just took it out because it wasn't important to me. So it looks like I'm going to at least try, because I always forget. The one reason why I took it out is I always forget. I forget to add the star rating. But yeah. 43% of you said, yes, I love star ratings, where 32%, so this is 11% more, would prefer me to do this, and 158 people voted. 32%, nah, just keep doing what you're doing, and 25% were like, I'm indifferent, I don't really care. Oh, and there is one more here. I just did this one a couple of days ago, and that is, do you listen to music while reading? And the majority of you at 52% said no, and 15%, which is the lowest, said yes, with the middle being sometimes, 33%. As for me, I can't really listen to music, and in the comments here, a lot of people said that they can't listen to music unless it's like just instrumental or ambient type music, or ambient sounds like thunderstorms or ocean waves. There's actually one commenter who lives by the ocean, and she reads outside, so she has like a lot of ocean sounds, which I thought was awesome. And yeah, I don't really listen to music while I read, although with the Malazan Book of the Fallen, I've taken to listen to some dark ambient music when I'm reading at home, because it just blocks out all sound, because there's always stuff going on, and I can't focus otherwise. Alright, so that's it for the polls. So I do have I recently, just at the beginning of this weekend of me filming this, I'm filming this on Sunday, the May 16th. On the Friday, I interviewed Mark Allen Gunnels for the second time this year, and it was a really fun interview. I think Mark and I, we're getting a little more acquainted with each other, and it's easier to talk to him, as he, I think, is finding it easier to talk to me. He always says that he has a lot of fun when he comes and talks with me, and I hope that's true, honestly. I hope that all the authors I talk to have a lot of fun. But what's funny is, since I've been starting doing these interviews, a lot of authors have been approaching me. And so I have like 4 more interviews that I well, actually none of them are scheduled yet, because I want to read their books first. And so this actually ties into a little bit of some Malazan news and my reading process or progress on it, but that's coming up soon. Anyways, so I have some upcoming interviews in the works with Daniel Brom, Kyle Winkler. Speaking of Nikki from Dark Between Pages, she recently had Kyle on her channel. She interviewed him, and she was talking to me, I think over Twitter, about, maybe it was Instagram, I can't remember, but she was asking me about if I'd be willing to maybe review Kyle Winkler's book, and it turned out to me saying, yeah, you know what, I want to interview this guy. So I'm reading his book right now. It's pretty good, and so I'm going to be talking to him next, possibly. You can probably look for that in 2 weeks. Mike Thorne approached me, and he wants to come on the show. That's very exciting. He gave me a free e-copy of his collection that's coming out in June, and you can expect that in June at some point, probably earlier rather than later, like around the 10th or 11th of June, somewhere in there. And also Adam Messer and Josh Vasquez from Valhalla. They both are interested in coming on the show. Josh Vasquez is a writer, and Adam Messer, I don't know if he's a writer or not, but he runs Valhalla Publishing. And so it'd be interesting to get them on to talk about Josh's book. And Adam's running a publishing company, so that'll be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. So lately, as I mentioned, you know, in terms of what I'm reading right now, I've been reading a lot of ketogenic lifestyle books. I don't like calling it, as I said in the last video, I don't like calling it the ketogenic diet, because it's not a diet. It's a metabolic process. Basically, what that means is your body can digest and absorb nutrients from only three things, and that is carbohydrates, proteins, or fats, and it'll only do one at a time. It won't, like, basically your body becomes metabolically sensitive to one or the other. It depends on what you eat the most of, and carbs have proven to, especially the really bad carbs that you find in processed foods and sugars and breads and wheat, that tends to cause people to gain weight and become diabetic and get sick. Many other diseases are associated with high carbs, and yet nobody's doing anything about this. So I've been reading a lot of books lately on this, like the Salt Fix. I've already discussed the Diabetes Code by Jason Fung. I want to read more of that. In terms of a fiction, though, I have been reading, well, I just started, actually, Lissy's Story by Stephen King, because apparently on June the 4th, I believe it is, Apple TV is releasing an adaptation of this book. And I was like, huh? What? And Lissy's Story is just one of those books that fell off the radar for me, and nobody really ever talks about this book, and I don't know why. I've started the audiobook for this, and it's really well done so far. I'm only about an hour or two in, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Bag of Bones, in that it's about a grieving spouse who's trying to get over the death of their spouse. Instead of, as with Bag of Bones, the death was like, it took place at the very beginning of the story. Lissy's story starts 2 years after her husband's death. And you can tell that I think Stephen King was imagining, had he died in the accident he was in, the van, when the van hit him, maybe what his wife might have went through had he died. But he didn't. I think this was the first book where he didn't actually use that specific incident to describe his untimely demise, as he did for quite a few stories after being hit by a van. In this one, I believe it's a school shooting where the husband dies, and that's as far as I've gotten. I don't really know too much about it, except for I think it involves a writer, because her husband was a writer, and so his writing would often take him into like an imaginary world or something like that. That's as far as I know about it, other than the grieving spouse trope. And so that's a lot of fun. And also, I also mentioned Kyle Winkler's book. I just finished, for the interview, I read Mark Allen Gunnell's book, Before He Wakes, and I really enjoyed that. I discussed that a lot with him in the interview. So, you know, in preparation to interview Kyle Winkler, I'm reading his book right now, and I'm just trying to pull it up here. And that is The Nothing That Is. The Nothing That Is. That's a pretty cool cover. And it's a cosmic horror story. And the very first line is about a graveyard that explodes. Yeah. See if that does not want to make you read this, honestly. Alright. So as I mentioned, I do have an update, and it's not a very good update regarding the Malazan Book of the Fallen. I don't think anyone here that I've been talking to really cares about my reading the Malazan Book of the Fallen. But I'm not stopping the series by any means. I absolutely love this series so far, but I do have to slow it down because a lot of these other reading projects are coming in. As I said, these I love interviewing authors, and I don't know why that is, honestly. I think it's just I get a kick out of it, picking their brains over their books. And so, as I said, a lot of these authors have approached me, and I'm like, yes, let's do it. And so I want to read their books first, and that means I have to add reading on to what I'm already reading and what I plan on reading. And these Malazan books are huge, folks. I mean, they are bricks. They are murder weapons. So something has to give. I'm going to be slowing way down on the Malazan reading, and that means I'm going to be falling off from Mike's book reviews, his reading schedule. It might take me a lot longer to finish this series. It depends, because after all these interviews come up, if there's no others, I might be able to dig right back in, but I'm hoping to, but we'll see. I haven't read Memories of Ice in a couple of weeks now because of other things, so I guess we'll see where that goes. So far, right now we're in severe lockdown with our government and the whole coronavirus thing, and that's unfortunate, but you know, it does have to be done. But you do feel a sense of fatigue about it. I don't know how many times you have a day off and you don't really have anything to do, or you just want to get out, you know, and not just go for a walk. You want to go, I don't know, shopping, or maybe go to a public park that has trails and go for a hike. And we can't do much of that. So that's, you know, that's frustrating, but it's necessary. I'm telling you though, what I am worried about is I work in a hot factory. And right now it's mandatory to wear a mask for the whole shift. And I work 12-hour shifts, and it's getting hot outside now. And I just can't imagine wearing a fucking mask. Well, it's like 100 degrees inside the factory. That's gonna create some interesting situations. So I guess we'll see what results out of that. All right, so that is my From the Hip number 6. Thank you for joining me, especially if you lasted this long. If you did last this long, how is about you leave a little ghosty there in the comments? Let me know. So thank you for watching. Keep being safe and keep being creative. And I'll catch you guys in the next bookish video.